Hey guys, welcome to Eight at the Table. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for tuning in. Just want to give a big shout out to all of our fans, our supporters, our followers. We really appreciate it. We wouldn't be where we are without you. So just always know that we appreciate it and we keep you guys in mind whenever we are doing what we do. Can you give us a little bit more background? I know you mentioned that you specialize in infidelity recovery. Kind of, I want to know like what's been your journey here,
Yeah, so
and what sets your practice apart from other therapists.
I'm a Gottman level 3 trained therapist, which means to me Gottman is like the Michael Jordan of couples therapy.
Ooh.
So I've gone through those type of trainings that allows me to work with black couples very efficiently with amazing result, because the way that I conduct therapy is based on research, not based on perspectives or opinion. So infidelity recovery was due to the fact that I knew so many relationships that were struggling due to infidelity. And what's interesting is that the stronger relationships actually can come out of infidelity, because it forces couples to have the conversations that they actually need to have, right? So based on that specialty, I have been able to be of service to the black community, and I hope that I can continue doing so.
Fabulous. Where can they find you? All with all your apps and website and all that good stuff.
Well, you can find me on IG at talk to Mac underscore therapist, talk TALK, the number two, Mac MAC underscore therapist. And if you're looking to work with me, you can find me at therapyisforeveryone.org.
Fabulous. So let's get into it. Today we're going to be talking about why are you in your feelings and whether you being your feelings creates a sense of resentment when it with respect to your relationships. So Marie, like tell us exactly what that means.
So, resentment is a psychological state arising from suppressed feelings of envy, hatred that cannot be acted upon, frequently resulting in basically self abasement. So, essentially, when you're not expressing or communicating um, something that you feel, whether you were wronged and you hold it in and you're not expressing it to your partner or anyone else, it's we call resentment the silent killer, right? Because it's almost like a cancer. It has the ability to just slowly grow. At first we don't recognize it, and we tend to just kind of push it away, and we don't talk about it, we don't confront it, and then eventually it has a way of eroding our relationships.
Gotcha. Well, you're the professional here. Tell us like what's been your experience, as far as how resentment plays in people's relationships.
Especially infidelity.
Great question, right? So the actual term is contempt, and contempt is a 97 predictor of divorce. So meaning that if you're behaving contemptuously toward your partner, there is a 97% chance that you will be divorced in either 4 or 7 years. Because again, it's a silent killer, right? It's the act of belittling, name calling, and disrespecting your partner that eventually they're just going to get tired of it. For example, it could be like, you'd be nothing without me. I'm all that you have. You would not be here if it wasn't for me, right? So without no therapeutic intervention, contempt will 100% kill your relationship
Within due time.
for 7 years.
So is is contempt the cause of resentment? Are we saying, or is it all in one?
So resentment is a form of contempt.
Okay, it's a form.
But the reason why that takes place is because one, we're not voicing exactly what it is that we are feeling. We're not expressing our needs, or we don't even have the language to express exactly how we feel. And then we just expect our partner to just figure it out.
Fall in line. Should we get the
Mac, is that considered one of the four horsemen of relationships when it comes to the Gothman Institute?
Yeah, so that's the third horseman of the apocalypse, and the most deadliest one.
Oh, that's
Right.
the deadliest one?
Deadliest?
Yes, with a 97% accuracy and predictor of divorce.
So that's 1 out of 4, right?
That's 1 out of 4.
I know we talked about the right. So in in a I guess like a hierarchy scale or like the most um likelihood to be broken up or divorced. Can we list them from the worst one down to the least worst?
Yeah, so it's a process. It starts with criticism. You're selfish. You don't care about me. You're egotistical. You never cared about this family or this relationship. So you're verbally punching your partner in the face. Now it's human nature that once you get attacked to defend yourself comes in the second horseman, which is defensiveness. No, I didn't, but you did this, right? You defend yourself and then you attack your partner back. So you have criticism and defensiveness happening over and over. Eventually, the co- the the resentment kicks in, contempt, right? Because you're like, "You're nothing without me. Like, how dare you? Like, you wouldn't even be here if it wasn't for me. Now you're name calling, you're yelling, you are screaming, you are disrespecting the being of your partner. That's third. Then we go to stonewalling, and that's a silent treatment, which is 70% done by men. Because eventually we just become a wall, we remove ourselves from the conversation, and then we partake in the silent treatment.
Yeah, that sounds about accurate.
How many women? How many? What's the percentage of women who engage in the silent treatment?
It's more common among men, but that's because 80% of the time it's women that are raising a complaint about the relationship. So stonewalling happens when you consistently feel criticized. Like what you're saying does not matter and no one is listening to you. So eventually, like, yo, I'm talking, you're jumping in, I can't even get one thing off, you're not listening to me, and it's just argument. So I'm just done. So I'm gonna just sit here and say nothing so this can be over with.
Sounds like me. I ate at the table. Wow.
Beg your pardon?
Sorry.
He'd be like, "Can I talk? Are you gonna let me talk?"
And I stonewall. Like, see, that's why. Okay, all right. I like where we're going with this. All right, so I have a question for you.
Talk to me, King.
All right, so one of your specialties is infidelity,
Infidelity recovery.
infidelity recovery.
Yes, sir.
You're in a relationship,
I am.
married,
I've been with my partner for over 10 years.
beautiful. Have you ever experienced infidelity within your own relationship?
I have not. It's the longest bid I've done, man.
The longest bid.
Not big.
He said what he said.
Right. But the key thing is, right, like for those that are thinking they're ready for a relationship, ask yourself this question. Am I disciplined enough? Because that's the key term, right? Am I disciplined enough to just be in one relationship? Am I disciplined enough to be monogamous? Am I disciplined enough to be committed to my partner as opposed to being loyal, right? Am I disciplined enough to learn how to communicate, to take accountability, and to just find ways to nurture this relationship?
Yeah,
It's easier said than done. I'll tell you that much.
100%. So, if I was somebody and I'm like, hey, look, because a lot of times people tend to discredit people when they have not lived in their shoes, right? So if I'm somebody who's having relationship issues because of infidelity, and I'm like, well, why would I take advice from someone who has never been in that position?
It's a great question.
How would you answer that?
If you needed to have heart open surgery, would you say I need a doctor that had heart open surgery, or I need a doctor that has done and knows the knowledge and the skills needed to complete heart open surgery?
I think that's a little bit of a reach
It's
because it's not the same.
concept.
It's
right?
not. It's the same concept if you wanted to compare apples and apples, but that's an orange. That would be more so like I would compare it to somebody saying, "All right, if I was a drug addicted to drugs, typically you see a lot of people who overcome their addiction are now the ones that's speaking on how to overcome those addictions. They don't really see people or seek help from people who have never been in their position. I understand what you're saying with the heart surgery, but what I'm saying is If you've never been in an infidelity, in an infidel relationship, which is a beautiful thing, by the
Mhm.
way, it's like you've never dealt with that side of that person, that resentment that comes with it, and so rather than giving me an analogy, what would be your response to somebody to make them more comfortable?
I got you right there. Insight does not equate to change. Just because you experience something doesn't mean that you can change it. And just because you have the knowledge that something's not good for you doesn't mean that you have the skills to change it. Well, when it comes to me, I've studied infidelity. I've been trained in it, right? So I've dealt with the research. I've put it into practice, and I've acquired the skills needed to be able to walk you from point A to the finish line. So it doesn't matter whether or not I experience it. And as a couples therapist, I'm not even telling you about my personal story because that doesn't matter to the therapeutic relationship. What matters is I have the skills that you're in need of, and I can take you from point A to point B, right?
Mhm.
So that would be my answer would be if I have the knowledge and I've done it and I can take you from point A to point B, why must I experience the same pain that you did or the lack of discipline that you showed for me to be qualified enough to walk you through exactly what you actually need?
I mean, because what I'm eventually going to tie into a correlation is that we try to add, and I said this before, validity to certain things. And sometimes experience is a better teacher than a book. And that's the only thing I was going to go with. But neither
For some,
not for all,
correct.
So,
I would say that when it comes to a skill based practice, the experience is not needed because at the end of the day, it's the skill that matters. And if you think about it, right, there's those that cheat and engage in infidelity find others that are partaking in the same behaviors,
mhm,
and they have yet to treat each other.
yeah, agree. Now, someone who was just say never monogamous, right? They
Hmm.
were constantly um, acting out of infidelity throughout their whole life.
Hmm.
Let's say their whole adulthood. How does one become disciplined, practice that discipline to actually, I guess, live a monogamous lifestyle? Because mentally they say that they want to, but their actions aren't adding up to what their, mental is.
So when it comes to monogamy, none of us are monogamous. We're in the pursuit of monogamy, meaning that we're not born monogamous, right? Because it's a social concept that we're trying to fit ourselves into. So what I tend to ask couples to do is to have a conversation of what does monogamy mean to you and what does it look like? And does it fit the parameters of the relationship that you're trying to create? I prefer the term monogamish, right?
Ish.
Because the
Ish.
ish allows me to define it however fits this current relationship
Got
at this current time. But in terms of being disciplined, you just have to be willing to choose your partner on a daily basis and knowing that if you did that, the pain, the trauma, 5 years of PTSD is now worth your 3 minute experience.
What if it's 30 minutes?
Yeah, I was going to say 3 minutes.
I was thinking it in my head
Not
too.
3
Like,
minutes.
who's left? Minute.
Go ahead.
Oh,
You said half a day?
I'm actually glad you kind of brought up the discipline question.
One
Rico.
weekend trip.
Oh, you're out of
Why
here.
did-
You spent the whole weekend.
I mean, if you're gonna do it, you may as well do
You
it.
might as well go all the way,
Yeah.
right?
Out of here.
If the result and the
I
consequence
don't need
is the
no
same,
therapist.
I
I
might
don't
as well
need
max
no.
out.
I'm
How
on
you
10.
didn't even enjoy yourself?
Right.
But
Maybe
again,
Monday.
like those that engage in infidelity, 70% of the time is not seeking sex. They're seeking an emotional need that's not being met in the relationship.
Talk about it.
So in a lot of cases, especially for males, we're trying to explain how we feel and it's not being responded to positively or just in general, we're feeling neglected in many ways. So eventually it's human nature to go seek that elsewhere because that's a need that needs to be taken care of. right? So infidelity does not mean I'm trying to get laid, I'm trying to bust a nut, or any of that. Most of the time is that we're not seeing eye to eye. My needs are not being met, and for some reason, I am finding myself finding others that are giving me the attention, the validation, the respect, the words of affirmation that eventually grow to now becoming physical.
Well, I like how you taking it easy on the guys, right? I feel like this is true for a good man. Because, we all hear that, like, a guy cheats is different from them when a woman cheats, because women, they look for validation. They look for what they aren't getting in the relationship. And guys, they just want to bust a nut.
That's not true, though.
I feel like that's what
It depends.
I was about to say, Rico.
Is there clinical data to back that?
Yes, it's 70%.
Yes, for the
of
numbers.
those that engage in infidelity
Yes.
does for an emotional need. So if he says that he's trying to bust a nut, there's a deeper meaning behind that. Us guys tend to be very limited in vocabulary and are so disconnected from their own needs that they can even voice exactly what emotion
That
that
they
they
need
are
more.
feeling,
Okay.
right? So it might be that I need to feel desired, and this individual that I'm trying to bust a nut with is making me feel like a king in the bedroom, and at home I'm not getting that. It's not about the nut.
That was
It's
a
about the experience and that emotional need.
Yeah, I agree with him to an extent. Now, here's the thing.
Because what if
I'll
it's
tell
just
you
a
like this.
moment of
And-
weakness?
See, now the leg is up. Okay.
That
Oh,
happens
God.
too.
I love the fact, right? It's just like I just have to be an analyzer at times. And I love the fact that the terminology that we're using. We have one person using the word cheating. We have one person using the word infidelity.
Okay.
Now, even though they kind of mean the same thing, I feel like there's different levels of severity for each.
Okay.
In my opinion, this is my opinion, and this is based on stigmas. Cheatings are for usually relationships that don't really have a end date or a set date to be married. Infidelity is usually a real serious relationship. Typically use infidelities and affairs within marriage or potential to be married people. Cheating, I feel like it's a boyfriend or a girlfriend. We've been dating for 6 months, and I cheated on you.
The act is still the same. The impact and the consequence is still the same. So whether you put a dress on it, a pig is a pig.
Yeah, no,
You
100%.
be trying to dress it up, right? You see that? I'm glad you caught it.
But but the funny thing is, like, even though we dress it up, why have two words that mean the same thing?
Well, but that's what synonyms
I
are.
mean, I was
I
just
have
about to say
never-
it's just a synonym.
No, that's not a synonym. These are direct of the same. Synonyms can also have slightly different meanings. These are directly the same.
No,
I don't-
synonyms are typically
Okay, so
like
what do you think? Would you
replaceable.
use them
Typically.
interchangeably, or do
To
you
me,
think that
they're
they have?
exactly the
But-
same thing?
So now,
the clinical term is just.
have you
infidelity.
ever been? Well, not you, because you've been married for 10 years, or with your
10
partner
years,
for
bruh.
10 years. No one that I've ever met in my life had a girlfriend that they did not see that they were marrying. They were just a girlfriend, right? Has said, "Damn, bro. Psh, I was trying to, but did an act of infidelity." No, it doesn't happen. It's usually I cheated or I got caught cheating. I wasn't caught, being an infidel. Like,
No,
But he's a
client-
professional.
No client has
therapist.
ever came
He
to me
can
and said,
use
"Hey,
the
Mac,
word.
I committed an act of infidelity." No,
Yeah.
it's like, "Yo, bro, I cheated, and I need help."
I mean, words matter, and I say that all the time. But like in this case, does it really matter?
I'm trying to tell you the severity from a guy's lens.
But he's
I am a
also
guy,
using
too.
He's not
it.
just a regular guy,
Like,
though. Like,
exactly, but he's
he's
a
a guy-
professional, and
he's
he's
a-
using the
wait, time out.
clinical.
Stop it. We're not.
Am I saying anything wrong?
I'm gonna say this. I don't want to argue about.
Stonewall right now.
Yes.
No, no,
Okay.
no. I
Don't
do that.
Mac. What are you doing, bro?
Being on my side.
I'm
Being
checking
on my
in.
side.